What's up, guys? Assalamu alaikum. Hope you guys all having a decent Friday morning so far. I just woke up and I'm reading this book called Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. I picked that up. I also picked up this book called The Real Madrid Way. But yeah, in today's video, I wanted to discuss trials and tribulations. Now, every one of us, we all go through some kind of trials. We all go through some kind of problems. It could be financial, it could be family, it could be physically, it could be mentally, emotionally, it could be anything. And a couple weeks ago, I did a khutbah. I've been doing khutbahs over the last Fridays of the month. So basically, a khutbah, what it is for those who don't know, it's like basically like a sermon, a speech, for Muslims. When we gather on Fridays, and the topic that I discussed was about struggles and trials and tribulations, and I'll do my best to record the khutbahs, but in this one I want to discuss. So basically, what I said was I discussed the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's his struggles and what he went through, and I discussed how his father died before he was even born, and his mother passed away when he was a kid, and then and then his grandpa passed away. Abu Muttalib passed away, and then he had to stay with his uncle. And then on top of that, when he was 14, he got the message. His all his family members, the people that he grew up with, they all rejected him, and they rejected his message, and they didn't understand, and it was a struggle for him. All these trials and tribulations, and and then when he was pretty much exiled, he decided to go to a city called Ta'if, and then but actually before that, what happened was his wife Khadija passed away. This was the time. This was the year of the year of sorrow, what they call. Um, Basically, his tribe was boycotted, and then so they were boycotted, and then for a year, they weren't able to like trade with the Meccan tribe. So basically, they weren't able to trade with anybody else, and then they were basically went to a different area, and there's a lack of food, lack of water, lack of resources, and every now and then some people would like sneak food over there, but it was kind of like a refugee type of camp, and they were struggling that way, and that was simply just because they believed in Islam, and they believed a different religion. They believed that the oneness of God, and they believed that that we're not supposed to worship idols, and we're supposed to respect our kinship, and we're not supposed to bury our daughters, which is something that they were doing before Islam, and all these different things. And then he went to the city of Taif, and then when he was in Taif, he hoped that maybe they had a different sense of heart, and the leaders of Taif, they laughed him off, and then they told him to go. And then when he was still optimistic, he was still trying to figure out how he could maybe get to their hearts. And when leaders found out, they got a bunch of like, I guess, shriveled up people to like basically stone them away from the city. And the prophet and his companion Zayd ibn Haritha was stoned. They were stoned out of the city to the point where they were bleeding from their head all the way to their sandals. um, and what was his response to that is what I'm going to discuss today. So his response to that was, I don't have the full, like, I had a paper, but I don't have the full dua, the full prayer. But basically, what he was saying, to elaborate, was, he put his hand, like, he started praying. He started praying, and then he said that, you know, I know that I'm struggling right now. I know I'm going through all this stuff, but as long as you're not mad with me, I'm happy. And I know that you're the one, and I know that whatever struggle you're putting through me, it's your decree. And but it would be easier if you could make my if you could make my struggle just a little bit easier, then that would be amazing. So basically, he was saying that I know what I'm going through. I know that I'm going through a tough time right now, and I know that but I also know that you're the king. I know that he's talking to God, Allah, and he's saying that I know that you are the sustainer. You have everything, and I know that basically I know that you can easily ease my pain. And if you could do that, that would be amazing. And he was still optimistic after that. And then what happened was basically this was a little bit after, like I didn't discuss it in the khutbah, but I'll discuss this in this video. Basically a slave went to the prophet, and then he handed him grapes, and this was like pretty much like very close to like right after that prayer. And then grapes is a luxury, even now like grapes is a luxury, so I gave him the grapes. And then before he ate the grapes, he said Bismillah, which is in the name of God. The man heard, he asked, oh, what is this that you were saying? And then he said, this is what I say before I eat, because to praise my Lord. And then he started, and then the man got curious, and then the prophet asked where he was from, and then he said where he was from, and then he basically said, oh, this is this was this is the same place as it was a prophet, and I can't remember right now. But and the man was like, what? Like he was shocked, because he was like, how would someone know about this? Like imagine us thinking of someone back in like maybe the first days of the world, and then like somehow we know. Like we don't, like nobody knows who they are, nobody understands, like nobody knows who they are, like not that kind of thing. And then they started asking a few questions and stuff like that, and all of a sudden he just started kissing his feet, because he realized that's the prophet of God. And then all of a sudden it just sort of changed. A lot of things changed. And even despite that, he was doing his night prayers and his tahajjud and all that stuff. And then all these different things were going on, and he Surah Jinn came out, and then the jinns, so even like to the point where the jinns started coming, and then they wanted to learn from the prophet. And then but that's besides the point. That's the tangent. What am I discussing today? Everybody has their own battle that they're going through. Everyone has their own thing. I have my own battles I'm going through at the moment, and I'm trying to fight it every single day. However, I think it's important to know that we're here for a purpose, and struggles are a part of life. Even if you want the luxuries of this world, you're gonna have to struggle a bit. And that's something that, especially when I was growing up, not aware of like the world and stuff like that, I used to ask myself, oh, when is this gonna end? When is this gonna end? When is it gonna be a day when I'm gonna be like just chilling, happy, just relaxing? And then I realized that it took me a while to realize that there's always going to be a struggle. There's always, as long as I'm striving for something, there's always going to be something that's going to hold me back, and that's going to try to hold me back, actually. And that was something that it took me a long time to realize. And as soon as I start to embrace it, and I start to realize the blessings that are actually in my own life, that's when my approach started to change. And even despite going through all these challenges and all these different struggles, it's a different approach. One of the verses that I was always that I always kept with me, it was "Wasta'inu bis-sabri was-salah." Seek help through patience in the prayer. And the other day I was listening to a thing about patience, and patience is something that I'm gonna be learning in the next couple of, I guess, weeks. That's gonna be my next thing to learn. And one of the things that I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to figure out new habits, because I haven't inherited really good habits in January, so I'm trying to get out of that funk. But yeah, that's besides the point. It's if you want something, whether it be in this life or the next life, we're gonna have to endure some hardships.